B-roll of just shuffling.
I know, yeah. B-roll of just trying to get like the Vivo shoes in, like this. Amy, since you joined Vivo about 18 months ago, how have you looked to transform the customer journey and what role has referral played in that?
When I came to Vivobarefoot, there was already this incredible community influence that we had. So word of mouth has always been the bread and butter of Vivo's success. And so this was a really natural element for us to kind of lean into from a retention point of view. And so when we were looking at different opportunities for us to expand on or extrapolate on, referral became this really important part for us to capitalize on. If you've already got a customer base that's naturally talking about your brand, you obviously want to make the most of it. And so by working with partners like Mention Me, we were able to understand not only how they were talking about us, but who was talking and how much value they were driving for the business. And so once you start to understand that just from a referral point of view, I said, well, it's not so much, let's not stop there. Let's try and figure out how we can actually maximize upon this and not just rely on classic influencer programs or working with ambassadors, but actually use our customer base as real feet and real people in real life talking about our product. And so it's something that we're very passionate about at Vivo, is making sure that people can talk about us really freely and be rewarded for that.
What difference do you see between referred and non-referred customers in terms of their value, and what impact does that have on the wider business?
Probably surprises no one, but our referred customers are incredible value to us, and they often come in punching above their weight compared to our non-referred customers. So to bring out a couple of multipliers, they're 2 times more likely to refer other customers to us, so we can acquire new customers through those that have come to us through referral. They're 2.2 times more likely to buy again, so high repeat rate. 3 times more valuable from a lifetime value point of view, so driving both top and bottom profit. And then in terms of the total revenue impact that has, we're actually acquiring 11% of our new customers through the Mention Me program that we're running. So if you look at this sort of on scale, if you think about 100 customers coming in, 31% will go on and buy in the second year. And if we extrapolate that out to sort of, over 10 years, that's 15 times the growth of that original base just through advocacy and word of mouth. So in terms of how we're trying to, I guess, really expand on that impact and put some momentum behind it, it's quite an easy conversation for us to have as a business in terms of how valuable the individual advocate is, but also the network. And once we start to understand the behaviors, and if you start overlaying different types of consumer purchase behavior or engagement behavior with advocacy behavior, you can start to build quite a really rich 360 profile of a customer, and not just prompt them to buy again, but also prompt them to talk about us more frequently, and that in turn drives revenue for the business.
What's your experience been like working with Mention Me over the last 18 months or so?
Mention Me is fantastic. They're the team that I love to turn to when I have a problem or a creative idea. At Vivo, we are really proud of how we can kind of tackle things from a slightly different perspective. We're not sort of walking in the traditional guardrails, particularly from a CRM point of view and a retention point of view. We like to combine different types of data sets. We like to understand different ways of thinking and how our systems can do that with us. And so the team at Mention Me, and having the direct relationship to the engineer teams, to data science, to customer service and the service of accounts, means that it's much more of like a holistic approach to our problems. So we don't just speak to one person, we're speaking to many, and the team's super hands-on and very supportive throughout the process.
How has the relationship between Vivo, Bloomreach and Mention Me been working, and can you talk to us about some key successes that you've had there?
So we use Bloomreach for our as a CDXP platform, and at the same time we've been using Mention Me, and we've been with both providers for a couple of years now, and that means that we have this great sort of bedrock of foundational data sets. We're already integrated with our different e-commerce tech stacks as well, and because of the natural relationship between Mention Me and Bloomreach with an out-of-the-box connection, it was already an easy start, so we were able to start filtering in information. But we don't stop there. We want to actually understand how to activate that that further. So working with the different team members that mentioned me, being able to come up with different initiatives, import them into Bloomreach, speeds up that process of just being able to activate a concept or a hypothesis much more efficiently. But then, I'm a bit of a data nerd, and so being able to overlay different types of customer data sets, so figuring out what kind of advocacy models and sort of indicators of propensity for advocation, and then importing that into Bloomreach and layering it on existing tools like RFM modeling in Bloomreach, you start to come up with sort of a much more interesting concept that's not just your classic standard approach to things like post-purchase journeys or upselling journeys. You start to understand the role of a customer more from a holistic point of view. It's not just their purchase behavior, but how are they actually advocating for us? Just because someone's not purchasing but is advocating doesn't mean that they're not actually valuable. They're actually incredibly valuable to us because they can acquire new customers and actually explain what we do, probably better than the brand can in one touch. So it becomes a much more interesting conversation when you have two systems like Bloomreach and Mention Me being able to work together.